Hey guys, producer Angel here, and you are watching Life with ROJO.
To introduce myself, I don't believe that we have ever met. I think that we could hit it off so well. Let me paint a picture, you and me together.
ROJO fam, this is Mark, Austin, and we are here today with a very special guest, a good friend of mine, and somebody you may know if you've ever watched a TV show that's got a very interesting concept. And this is my friend Mark Dingess from the show 60 Days In.
Y'all messed me up, bro. I thought y'all were fist bumping.
Oh yeah, we'll get one.
Golly, man. Got me looking stupid on the podcast, man. I just lost like all three fans that I had.
We messed you up, man. That's our fault.
It's all right, bro. I'll forgive you this one time.
But man, it's so
Don't
good
let it happen
catching up with you, brother.
You too, man. How you been?
Been doing good, man. Kids are getting older. You know, I've got two already graduated. One of them turned 16 today, and another's 13.
Yeah, my kids are now 19 and 23.
Wow.
It's nice. Like, I can literally sit in the living room in my boxer shorts because nobody's home anymore. It's awesome.
That's crazy.
I'm
dude.
sorry.
I don't even know what that'd be like.
I'm sorry. Should we put that PG rating like before?
Well,
We're sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This episode will be rated PG because he's talking about his boxer shorts.
well, we said boxers, not briefs, so we're good.
Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, okay, rock on.
But man, tell them a little bit about how we met, Mark.
Okay, so me and Mark, dude, we could be like M Squared. That'd be kind of cool, bro.
That would be nice.
And we could get shirts made, and we could come out with like a rap album.
We could.
Anyway, so yeah, okay. Sorry. Yeah, so me and Mark, we went to a little thing called BCOT together down in Forsyth, Georgia, which Forsyth, Georgia is down in like the arm. Like if you go to the armpit of Georgia and you take a left, it's right there next to the armpit. But anyway, it was Correction Officer Academy. At the time, we were, I don't think you were a correction officer. You were a counselor, weren't you?
Right,
But you
right.
still had to go through the BCOT process.
Yeah.
Yes. So you're smart. See, I was just dumb. I was like, me go be prison guard. Boom. Boom.
Did you get a lot of fist bumps as a prison guard? No, not too many.
No, apparently they didn't like them. Go figure. Sorry, man, you can't have a cell phone. No, you can't have tobacco. No, man, you can't make moonshine. Yeah, I wasn't too popular as a CO.
Yeah, I figured
Go
that
figure.
could put a damper on it.
It is what it is, man. But yeah, so we met, and I actually was teaching a group in my church, and we had you come over and you spoke. It was a life group for military veterans in our church, and I'm not sure if we had expanded it to first responders when you came in or not. I know we eventually did that, but you came in, you spoke about your experiences as a member of the United States Army.
Yeah, I remember that. I was going out there to your church, and it was wild because it was a huge military group. Like,
Yep.
compared to other churches I've been to, they didn't have that large of military families and, you know, veterans, and there were some
and
active guys too.
Yeah, there were a few. Were they active? I don't remember. It's been a while ago, man. And I've got the old timers disease.
Right.
So yeah, it happens. So, but yeah, man, that's how we met. And I've always, I've really, honestly, truly, always thought very little of you.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, he's
and it
5'9",
was-
so that's easy to do.
Well,
That's the nicest thing you've ever said, dude. I'm
Yeah.
actually
I mean, it's true.
5'7".
it's easy to look down on you in life.
Happens a
If
lot.
you're taller than a can of biscuits, you can look down on my friend Mark. But that's part of his allure. He's like the little chihuahua that we always never wanted.
Man, that like you guys are really blessing me right now with these sweet comments.
Well, it says in scripture that we are to edify our brothers.
That's
so
true.
consider mission edification complete. Boom.
No, man. Yeah, so we had a good time out there, and I think we even did some Bible studies while we were in that school. We
We did. I forgot we had started a little Bible study group, and
Yeah.
that was pretty neat.
yeah,
That was pretty neat.
And that's where we got connected on the spiritual side of things too. So that was really cool. But then, a number of years later, you kind of went through some transitions, and I know that you left being a corrections officer and you got into some real estate, I believe, right?
I did real estate for a few years. I was pretty good at it, and I was all right. And but then I got talked back into law enforcement. Prior to that, actually, they came out with a show called 60 Days In, and I don't know if you heard about it.
I think I
But
have.
I remember on season one, thinking the whole idea was stupid. Why would people volunteer to go to jail? Because I had worked at a prison. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you guys are morons. So I watched it because obviously I wanted to see how stupid people really were. And anyway, so every show has like a Facebook group or some type of social media following. And so I joined because I was like, I'm gonna watch this in action. And sorry, I got scratched my head a little bit. Anyway, sorry, random comment of the day. Anyway, so I made a comment. I don't remember. I made some type of comment. And a couple of years later, they reached out to me and they said, hey, we'd be interested in interviewing you for the show. And so I told them, hey, I would be interested in interviewing, but I'm not committing to anything. So in my head, I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and interview. Let's go through the process and let's interview. And let's just at least see how much money we're talking about, how big the jail is. Because if we're talking about you're going to pay me, I don't know, $100,000 a year, but you say LA County Jail or Rikers Island, I'm not cool with that, bro. Sorry. I mean, I value my life a little bit. But anyway, so they called me back, or I go through the whole process, and they come back and they're like, hey, you're going to do this place called Pinal County. It's in Arizona. And so I did some research and I found out it wasn't that big of a facility. Like, I think 700 people, 500 to 700 inmates. And I'm like, yeah, that's not that big. And I said, well, how much is it, right? And how much are they going to pay you? And, or are they going to pay me? And so when I discovered how much they were going to pay me, I was like, okay, now I'm suddenly a lot more interested.
Right.
I'm like, hold on, 60 days. I mean, that's a lot of tithing I can give to the Lord.
Right.
But anyway, so yeah, I went ahead and signed up, and then that's when y'all saw the TV star, Mark. Yeah, and all my awesomeness and my great fist bumps and my, But yeah, so it was an interesting experience, and actually doing that show, we could jump into all the details if you want later. Got me back into law enforcement, so I went back and became a detention officer, and then a couple of years after being a detention officer, they sent me to police academy, and now I'm a police officer.
That's awesome,
So,
man. Wow.
yeah.
So, I mean, your whole life you've spent like just serving people, man, from the military to working in the, prison system and then, working for the county. I mean, that's awesome, dude.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting, and in fact, what's funny is my son now wants to join the army. He wants to follow in daddy's footsteps. Daddy followed in his daddy's footsteps and his grandpa's footsteps. So we have a whole lineage of soldiers, and so now he wants to follow in my footsteps. And what's funny is, I told him recently, I said, son, I understand you're going to join the military. I said, first of all, don't feel like you ever have to serve. Don't feel like this family hasn't done enough, because I think we've done enough as a family. And I said, but I'm going to have the conversation that 35 years ago, 30 something years ago, my grandpa and my daddy had with me. And I said, look, join the Air Force. And he don't want to listen to me though. And I didn't either. So my grandpa retired from the Army, and my dad, he was voluntold to join the Army, AKA drafted. But I mean, they knew enough, and I didn't want to listen to them, because when you see a picture, or when you watch Saving Private Ryan, you don't care about the people that actually, flew in the aircraft and dropped the paratroopers or whatever. You can't. All you care about the guy with the gun.
Right.
That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think, dude, like what you're saying, every Army or Marine guy I've ever met tell their kids go to the Air Force.
And what's funny is, it's like, how life is cyclical, right? So it's like now we can all look back. And Austin, I don't know how old you are, but I know my age. I'm 48, and I'm starting to see like I'm becoming my dad. And actually, I don't know if y'all know this, but I'm going for remember when we went in like school and you had like most likely to succeed and stuff like that? I think they were called superlatives.
Yeah.
Is that the word superlatives? Well, I mean, I'm going for the most grumpiest man in my nursing home, and that's the one I'm going for. But life is cyclical, and it's funny because 35 years ago, I told my grandpa and my daddy, y'all don't know what you're talking about. And now me and my son are having that same thing. Dad, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
On what you were saying about the grumpiest man in the nursing home, prior to getting on this, we heard a phone call with you and your wife about, I think she changed your passwords and you weren't able to get logged in. So, I mean, you're on your way.
By the way, if you ever forget your password, just text me or Mark and we can tell you, because I'm pretty sure we have it memorized by now.
And what's funny is now that you got that password, you can log into anything I have.
Right,
Like,
right.
if you want all $8 that I have currently in my checking account, dude, you could go steal it and all that. So yeah, I appreciate you. Dude, you were just like a woman, Mark. You rehash old stuff.
It was 10 minutes ago.
It was 10 minutes ago, bro. You gotta keep throwing my face in it, bro.
My bad.
Throwing my face in it, bro.
So
just to think, I'm doing y'all a favor. I'm a G-list celebrity here. I mean, hold on. I'm gonna drink because I can.
one of my favorite things. Oh man, I thought you were gonna drink like you did earlier. It took you about 3 minutes to get a gulp.
That's because of my age. It's hard to swallow anymore since the last time I met you. I mean that in an edifying sort of manner. Like, we're all created in the Lord's image. I just think the machine was broken the day you were created. It's down for maintenance.
Well, I appreciate that.
I mean that in a spiritual, uplifting manner.
So when you were in the military, did you deploy?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did.
So I want to know the difference between night one of your first deployment and night one of being inside the jail.
Oh wow! I was actually thinking about this the other day, and I know we make fun of like I'm a goofy son of a gun. I mean, I'm really good looking, and my wife won the jackpot when she won me, so I forbid her to play the lottery ever again. But I don't know why I'm rambling on right now. It's called being old. But I was actually just talking about this. Like, you know how in the Army we used to make fun of the cops, so we're like, I don't know. Hey, dude, I've seen more as a cop than I ever did in the military, but that's an entirely different scenario. So it's just kind of funny you mentioned that. But I would say being in jail was definitely, I don't know, man. When I came in, I stayed up all night because I was like freaked out. So I want to say I slept the first 12 hours I was in jail on my back. Because the guy, my pod mate, or what do you call it, cell partner, he looked just like what was that serial killer in the 60s out of like California? He had a whole cult following. Charles Manson.
Yeah.
Right. So like he looked just like Charles Manson. Good.
Tapped out. I'm out.
I'm here for the TV show, and I'm gonna die.
What's my safe word?
Right,
Pineapple.
right. My shoulder hurts. So I get Charlie Manson as my as kind of myself. Actually, turned out to be an all right guy, but I mean, he looked like Charles Manson, and I'm like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die tonight. And all for a TV show. Anyway, I think the first time being deployed, it definitely is interesting, especially when you get mortared for the first time. I mean, but because the first time you hear incoming, and you run to your fall, you run to the bomb shelters, and then by like 6 months into the deployment, you're like, screw it, if I die, I die.
Your first couple, you're sprinting, and then after that, it's just like, if it's my time.
And that's exactly how I got, incidentally, in jail after I shanked about 3 people. That's exactly how the attitude that I had. If I die, I die. By the way, I'm kidding. So if you're from my police department and you're part of the internal affairs organization, that was a joke, and no way am I to be taken seriously. That's my legal disclaimer for the day.
Thank you for clarifying, so we don't get like a letter in the mail or something about that.
Yeah. Yeah, but like, I don't think I should have him on again. This is writing a strongly worded letter to the management there, like to your producer, who I met her. And is that your wife, Austin? That's the producer?
No,
who was that?
That's my daughter.
That's Mark's daughter.
Was that your daughter?
Yeah.
Okay. She looks like she's kind of a little strong-willed, a little kind of a pain as a producer. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to tick her off.
How'd you already know her? She's tough on us. She's got to keep us in order. So.
Well, and she probably should. I mean, not. I'm just saying. I mean, but anyway, so going to jail was an interesting experience. Especially, I guess I don't know. Like, yeah, I deployed. I was in the service, but going to the service and going to jail are 2 entirely different things. A day in jail is like 4 days on the outside. It just drags on. and you look at the same people every day. But it was an interesting experience. I'm glad I did it. I would say it made me a better person, but I always treated people. I'd like to say I always treated people with respect.
Right.
And it just even that much more, even as a police officer. I've always believed in, hey, if I'm going to treat you with respect until we have to fight. Then we're going to fight. If we got to fight, we got to fight to get you into custody. And as soon as we're done fighting, we're going to go back to treating you with respect. But I think, if anything, it taught me to, the people that break the law are people too. I guess,
Right.
is that the word? Like, that sounds terrible. It sounds dismissive. But, you just learn that really we're all God's creation. And some of us just got caught in our fallibility, if you will.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Right.
definitely. So you said earlier they kind of like recruited you, right? It wasn't like you applied necessarily. They reached out to you and
Nope. Yep. So the 60 days in recruiting process is kind of weird. Most of the people, and I don't know lately, like as in the last year, but it's for the first 7 seasons, they basically recruit you. They find different people that they think would make a difference in A&E's little world or bubble, and that person. And that's exactly what they do. So a big question that I got from fans after the show on social media was, how do I get on the show? And I answer that because there's no standard application process like there is to be on other shows. They literally found a Facebook post and said, we'd like to talk to them. And one interview led to another, which led to another. And I think I interviewed over the course of about a year before they called me and they said, hey, you've been selected. What are you doing in like 3 weeks? I said, what do you mean? What am I doing in 3 weeks? I said, yeah, the production got moved and we got to move. And so that's a lot to take in. Hey, you're about to go to jail for 2 months. Yeah, and you're leaving in a couple of weeks. So that was definitely interesting.
So how'd your wife take that, you being gone for 2 months? Because
It's funny, if you guys will go back and watch my season, it's actually funny. So if you're a fan of 60 Days In, they always did, at least prior to, I don't know, maybe about season 6 is when they stopped. But my season is they always do that little family, they show you with your family and
right.
you eating and all that stuff. And you can actually see in the, I dare y'all to go back, because now you see it, you're going to laugh. But my wife was so just upset at me and at life in general and thought I was an idiot. You actually see her. We were talking because everything is staged, right?
Mhm.
I don't want to say your time there is not staged, but the pre-production stuff,
Right.
okay, sit in this way and say that, yeah. But you see her actually roll her eyes because she was so not into it. And Joy Mark.
Right.
So I love my wife. I love her. I love her more than anything. She has, I've been married to her for 21 years, and she is the best choice I ever chose. That poor woman has put up with my stupidity for a lot of years now. And I think she, at that point in life, said, you know what? You're an idiot.
Well, see,
So it's funny, too. If you go back and watch, you'll see her roll her eyes.
and I can absolutely see that from her. But Austin, that's why he's still single. He's trying to get all his stupid stuff out of the way first.
How old are you, Austin?
too old. 36.
36. I'd say a good time to be married would be about 60.
Now going into 60 days, I know they give you guys like a cover story, right? Like you're on you don't have to make it up though, right? Like the producers, or they have a team that kind of conceptualize that for you.
I mean, yeah, they kind of consider, you're right. So they kind of give you an idea, and then they give you like a day or two to like get everything memorized, so you don't screw it up. Like 2 days. 2 days to memorize every aspect about your story, and you're going to be in there 60 days. And if you screw up that story one time, people will start questioning it. So hindsight being 2020, that's stupid. That being said, yeah. So my story was so they said for some reason I don't come across as being hard. I don't understand it. Geez, so like,
I didn't know if it was Flex Picks or something that got you on the show. I mean, to be honest.
it was actually my Feet Finder account, but that's an entirely different story.
It's not that type of podcast. This is a PG podcast. We didn't talk about feet pics.
We can talk about feet pics
That made
later.
me think of that Nashville toe sucker guy. Did you ever hear that? Yeah. So this dude was a manager at a hotel. And, some dude just comes in, checks in, and in the middle of the night, he gets awoken by this man, the manager guy, sucking his toe. And so imagine that waking you up. And first off, who doesn't lock with the latch thing? I don't know. But and so that guy got up, and the guy got arrested for sucking the guy's toe. But think how
I don't even know what charge would that be.
I think
I
it.
don't know.
I feel
I
like
don't
it's
know. It's like
that-
more public nuisance than anything. Like, side note, okay, I go out to a call, right, a few months ago as a police officer, and it says on my call notes, it says it's going to be a fraud call. Okay, cool. All right, so I go out and knock on this person's door. She answers the door, and she prefaces the entire conversation. She prefaces the entire conversation with, "I had my husband's blessing." So I was like, okay, I need the tea now. So this is going to be good, right? She said that she started a feed finder account, and her client, one of her clients, he basically wound up stealing like 10,000, do a whole bunch of crap. He stole $10,000 from her. So towards the end of the interview, I'm like, hey man, I said, just out of curiosity, I said, just 'cause, look, I don't get this whole feet thing, you know. I said, but just out of curiosity, how many clients do you have? She said, one. Like the only client, so the only client you had scammed you out of $10,000. That's awesome. I think that's the one.
First off, I didn't even know that was a thing, and second
Trust
off,
me,
Feet
trust me.
finder.
And after I found out it was a thing, I didn't want to know it was a thing anymore.
no. And second
Yeah.
off, if you do it and you only got one person, like, what are those feet looking like?
Got some ingrown toenails or something. I don't know.
I don't know, but I told her, I said, ma'am, I'm gonna need pictures for evidentiary purposes only. I was intrigued too, right? But the husband the whole time, he was kind of like rolling his eyes, kind of like when Joy was rolling her eyes,
Right.
on the show. Okay, so anyway, but y'all probably didn't want to hear. I'm so glad that you at home got to hear about the feet pic stories.
Well, there's another story that I was interested in, and I know if you're able to talk about it, you were out of work for a little bit recently, right?
You're bringing up old crap, bro.
I gotta hear about this because I even saw how you explained it on your Facebook post.
So
So
it intrigued you.
it
It
intrigues
intrigued
me.
Hey, worse than my life, man. Anyway, all right, so I get out on the suspect, right? He's wrong. Passed out in the car, right? I mean, so I'm an older guy, and I'm a little bit more experienced as an officer. So I backed up and called for backup. I said, "Hey, this is going to be a DUI investigation. Go ahead and roll me a backup unit." And so then I go up and I'm like, "Hey, man, wake up, wake up, wake up!" And I'm tapping him. He wakes up and he has that deer in the headlight. Looks like, oh crap, it's a cop, right? So I'm like, hey, man, just go ahead and step out of the car. Yeah, by the way, when I say it looks like it's going to be an alcohol investigation, so I work with a thing called clues. If you don't know what clues are little things that say, hey, this is why I believe what I believe, right? So let me tell you how how these clues probably played into my mindset here. So look in right here, right? Okay. I don't know why. I'm sorry. The center console, right? And I see two open beer bottles, half open beer bottles, or half full open beer bottles. And I look into the floorboard, and it's a whole case of Corona. And I'm like, something tells me that he's probably been drinking. Because I'm good like that. I can deduce things like that, you know? Anyway, step out of the car. He gets out of the car and we just start fighting. He just starts fighting. So the fight's on, right? So he's sitting there with fighting. I can't even get out on the radio to call for back because I got backup coming, but tradition, unless I tell it, usually if I call for backup, they're not going to go blue lights or woo woos and all that towards you. They're just going to drive normally. And I can't even get out and say, hey, I'm in trouble. I'm fighting. Right. So we're fighting for a few minutes. Finally, I'm able to disengage and I just yell into the radio. So now people are like, oh crap. So now they know to pick it up. So anyway, we get back to fighting, right? And the guy, he's a scrawny little dude. So I'm kind of a bigger guy. He escapes from me, right? He breaks the hold I have on him and he starts running. Now, three things, right? Number one, I'm fat. Okay. Number two, I'm old. Number three, I know I'm gonna stay right up with you for maybe the first 100 feet. After that, dude, you got me smoked, bro. I'm just gonna be real with you.
So real quick on that,
I'm no one that ever plans on. Where'd you go?
you there?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
on that real quick, with your running ability, what animal would you compare yourself to? He seems so disappointed with my question.
Okay. So in my head, right? Check this out, right? In my head, I was a cheetah. I'm doing all the police stuff, man.
Right.
I look like a freaking cheetah, bro. No lie. I made this stuff look good. Then I made the mistake of going back and watching my body cam, and I looked like I really looked like a 15-year-old house cat that should have been put to sleep 5 years ago. Neither here nor there. He takes off running, so I know I'm fat, I'm old, and I'm the equivalent of a 15-year-old house. So I'm only going to be able to keep up with you. So I get this brilliant idea, right? Because my head's always flowing, bro. Got all these brilliant ideas always going through my head. I say, you know what, Mark? In fact, I say, you know what? Because I thought to myself like this. I say, hey, self. And I answered, yeah. If you Superman jump at him, like Superman full and tackle him, you're going to take this dude down. And you're going to come out the hero, right? And I said, you know what, self? That's a great idea. So I say, you know what? I've got maybe 50 more feet, and this dude's going to have me, right? So I say, you know what? All right, self, you win. And I jump. No sooner did my body and my legs come off the ground. And at that point, I've just got to trust the Lord and the Lord's gravity that nothing bad's going to happen to me. No sooner did I go airborne, I thought to myself, you know what, Mark? You're 48 years old. You're fat and old. This is probably not going to end how you think this is going to end. And sure enough, boom, my head, perfect landing. Perfect landing. Boom, all right, cool. I lay across him, and I just let him fight until he's tired. I mean, look, I've got weight. I've got all my gear on, so finally he's like, okay, I'm done. So I boom, click, click. All right, take him to the car. And I'll look over, and here's the best part about it, though, is usually I can say, I got body cam to prove what happened. Now, when the guy took off running, I took off running after him. I heard something hit the ground. I knew something had fallen off my vest. I go back. I'm like, my body cam was laying there. So all you see is you see me fight, you see him swipe, and you see my body cam go flying off in the air. So I don't even have video evidence. So you're going to have to trust me that I'm telling the truth.
Now, talking about going back and watching like videos and camera, of yourself, going back to 60 days in, what's like one of the funniest moments that stands out when you went back and watched your season?
Boy, there's a lot of funny moments. I got to pick a singular funny moment. I don't know. Okay, so when you do reality TV, the one thing you'll notice that you guys don't see, but once you've done reality TV, I can never unsee, is that everything is edited. So it's not staged. Everything that happens in there happens, but you're in there for so long, they can take little various clips and put them together, and they can tell stories that didn't happen. So one of the things I thought of while I was in there, I was going to try to do Bible study because I am a man of faith, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to bring the word to these guys. Hey, if I can change their lives spiritually, then hopefully we can change their hearts. And I think with that would change their actions. And so you see me running around the pod one day, like I just came up with this idea. And I'm like, Bible study, Bible study, Bible study. Now, what you don't see is a large group of people that would attend my Bible study. And actually, I had a lot of people there. And but for some reason, I guess the producers in New York thought it would be funnier and kind of cooler at the same time as if they showed no one come to my Bible study. So it looks like I was like yelling Bible study, and I go sit down and no one joined me. And I guess the producers, the Hollywood producers in New York. So, and their brilliant thinking thought that'd be, I mean, it is what it is, bro. But yeah, I always thought that was interesting because you're like, I know what really happened. And one thing I also did, which you don't see in the show, because apparently they didn't thrive on that. You start discovering, because 60 Days In is billeted as a show. It's brought to you as a show that we're trying to change. We're trying to bring problems into the facility, show these sheriffs what's going on in their facility. But they're not showing the positive. They don't care about the positive things. So just to be honest with you, they don't. Like, so for example, I went in there and I started showing these guys how to write resumes. So when they got out, they would be able to actually write their own resume, hopefully get a job, and leave the life of crime behind. But you don't see that. They edited it. I mean, they deleted all that. They wanted to concentrate on kind of the more, either the funny things, the goofy things, or the dramatic, things. I mean, it is what it is.
Well, I hate that they
It
edited
still
that.
brought me it still brought me a platform because over, I think, what is the number? It's like 10 million people watch A&E, and it's the weirdest. It is the weirdest thing. Like my season was probably 5 years ago, and I had some people the other day, and they're like, "Dude, are you Mark from 60 Days In?" Yeah, that's me. Cool, man. Well, nice to meet you. Yeah, nice to meet you. And but it's definitely changed your life, and it doesn't. It is what it is. I mean, some people you can let it get to your head because a lot of the people that did the show, they think, they wanted to let the stardom get to them. I could care less about any of that.
Right.
In fact, to be honest, if I had to do it again, I probably would have never done the show. I could care less about being known unless it glorifies him. But that's an entirely different issue. If you can use my platform to do that, then cool.
Yeah.
I was actually recently asked to write a book because, I have a 5th grade education. So, I find it hard to write. Not saying about writing a book. I'm kidding. I've got a
I
bachelor's
know. I was
degree.
like, I know you have a bachelor's.
Okay. I just thought
Because
Austin looked like, oh my God, this guy's not only stupid, he's an idiot too.
no,
I was like,
I,
it all makes
So I
sense
was like,
now. It's all coming together, circular, like you said.
no, I remember you went to Liberty and we were talking. I remember you went to Liberty and we were talking about Luther Rice back in the
Yeah.
day.
I even I stayed and started my master's degree at Liberty, and I don't know, I just couldn't do it. I enjoyed it, but it was just too. It was like it was cool because you get to actually you don't have to do what they call that the curriculum where you got to do like you got to take American history and math and science and all. You don't have to do any of that crap anymore. But you had to write a freaking research paper a week, not just a research paper a semester. And I was like, no, dude. I did like a year in my master's degree, and I said, nah, I'm good, bro. Oh, there's Joy. She's probably coming and checking on it. Oh, look, she wants to be on the show. I love you too, baby. Okay, so for all of them there, 'cause that was my wife. She's kind of a hottie. Anyway, sorry. For those of y'all that have other wives, I apologize ahead of time that are watching the show. The Lord bless me with a beautiful smoking hot wife. Anyway, well, what were we talking about? I'm sorry. So yeah, I went to do my master's degree and I just had to stop because it's a lot of work. And I don't like work.
So, question. You've listened to the podcast some, and today you've been able to talk with Austin some.
Yep.
If he was
No, I don't find him attractive.
maybe not attractive, but if he was to go on 60 Days In, or he was to get arrested, let's just say, how do you think he would handle himself in jail?
Hold on. Hey, do me a favor, Austin, because I've never met, like, real story, like, guys, watch it, I've never met Austin in real life. Hold on. I have an old man reading this.
Get closer.
Make it
I'll give him
closer.
a good view.
Yeah, will you lean in?
There's not
Okay, will
much
you
to
turn
see.
this way real quick? Will you turn this way? Okay. All right, turn that way. Will you stand up and like kind of do it? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't get up and turn around for me. I don't know. He's kind of pretty. Let me ask you something, Austin. And in all seriousness, do you like honey buns? No.
I like ramen noodles.
I'm trying to think of what I could get in trade for you. Think if he put okay. Sorry, but if you're disrespectful, what's going to happen on the outside? You treat someone, it's going to get you not flat out. So anything happens in jail. If you go in with the right mindset, and I am by no means am I an experienced felon, but I mean, if you treat people with respect, they'll treat you with respect back. So I think Austin would do good as long as that. Plus, I don't know, man. You said you do like noodles, you like soups.
I like ramen noodles.
What's your favorite ramen noodle?
Probably the beef flavor.
Oh, you wouldn't do good there. You gotta do chili and some honey buns. That's the best stuff right there.
Now tell us.
Oatmeal pies.
Now I do like some oatmeal cream pies. That's a different story. But so you're kind of famous though for the famous fist pump. So how did that like start on the show? Like, was that your way of?
Did you call it a fist pump? Hey, I should have asked you that question after he called it a fist pump.
It's probably before your time, Austin. But do you remember the old Reebok shoes where you pumped it up?
Oh yeah,
Do not.
Yeah.
yeah, I love
that.
those things, man.
Well,
So
some cool shoes, bro. Oh, but we did get back on the same conversation. Sorry. So the fist bump thing come around because the show decided to show when I fist bumped. I didn't want to. I'm not trying to be terrible. Look, they're all God's children. We're all God's children, right? But I'm not a big handshake when it comes to nasty methods. I know God loves you, and I will love on you, and I will show you the right way, right? I was like, hey, it'll be easier if I fist bump you. That sounds terrible. Golly, honest face, dude. People are gonna watch your show, and they're gonna be like, that dude is probably not right with the Lord. And I'm sorry, I try.
I don't think
Okay.
anybody's gonna say that. Hey, I'll fist bump
Well-
too, man. If somebody's
I mean, if you're kind of gross, bro, Like, yeah, okay, cool,
Dude, I teach
So
Bible with
anyways,
middle school kids, and we never have soap in the bathroom, dude. I'm always fist bumping.
oh yeah, yeah. So anyway, that being said, on the show, I think at one point I go walking around the pod and fist bumping everybody, and then I turned to a cinder block wall, and I don't know what happened. Don't ask me to remember what happened. I don't remember, but it shows me fist bump a cinder block wall. But in my defense, a cinder block wall was pretty cool. I mean, he would listen to you and he would give you little tips of advice. I kind of like that cinder block wall. It is what it is.
Well, I saw the reunion episode, and we actually were watching it earlier. And there's a guy that you had a little bit of a rift with on that reunion episode, where you even moved up away from him and got up and it looked like you were ready to throw hands. And is that Steve? Was that his name?
Yes, his name was Steve.
Oh gosh, like you turned into a whole different person when I said Steve. I feel like you were prepared for a question about Steve.
Scrabble was convenient. You want me to grab my service weapon? No, Steve. So
And remember, family podcast.
You don't have to tell me this, bro. No, you probably do. That being said, Steve was a special character. Steve was I don't know, he was every bit as cocky as the show. Like when you watch the way he was acting and the way he was talking to everybody and the way that was all real, And finally, I just had enough, and I decided I was just kind of done listening to him. And at one point, I think it was when he said he came in and he was high, whereas everyone else took the project seriously.
Right.
I think we were just all kind of done listening to him, and so at that point, I was like, "Bro, I'm done with you." And then he kept yapping at the mouth. And look, I'm a working project. All right, the Lord has not completed me yet. Maybe on the day of my death, I will be complete. But
God's still working on us.
Yeah. So it just got to me, and so I was like, okay, cool. And what's funny, you don't see in the background behind the cameras, the big old security guards. So I guess they had bouncers, and didn't know it until me and him were getting into it. And they're coming up to start breaking us
They
up.
just come up out of the shadows.
It was literally a hybrid of 60 Days In and the Jerry Springer show, all combined in one. And so I didn't know what to start yelling at that point. Jerry. That's the old 90s flashback.
Yeah.
Some of y'all may not. Austin, you may not remember those days.
I know a little bit.
Little bit. Okay.
He was still watching Barney.
Actually, I was on a call today, right? And I was talking to a lady, and you heard this term before, right, Barney? I said, you're going to have to break it down to me Barney style, right? What does that mean? It means you're going to have to break it down to me like a 7-year-old, because I don't know what you're saying.
Right.
You got to really explain this to me. And anyway, so I'm like, you got to break this down to me Barney style. And I looked up at the TV at the same time, and guess what's on TV, Barney? So I was like,
Oh,
how
wow.
convenient. Anyway, in my head, it was funny. In my head, this was going to be funny when I had to look, and the execution was pretty terrible. So, anyway, next question.
So how many times when you're out on a call and do you think you just give a really good one-liner, like a really funny one, and you're expecting a good response, it just lands flat?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, you know what? One time, when did this happen? I can't give it to you because it happened all the time. I mean, literally, I think the television cameras, y'all know how they have, what was it called? On Patrol Live now, Live PD.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they should just follow me around. In fact, if you can make that happen, Mark, go ahead and make some calls. This guy he ain't got no sense.
Man, we'll see what we can do, but we're about to have to wrap up here, man, but I just want to let you know that we appreciate you. Austin, you got any final questions, man?
Listen, you're my first 60-day celebrity I've ever met.
Yeah, man, I'm sorry it had to be me. There's plenty of other good options out there.
You'll probably be the last one, too, to be honest, but no, we appreciate you coming on, man.
It's awesome. He's like, yeah, after that, but yeah, I don't want to meet any more 6 feet.
I'm actually going to stop watching the show now, but no.
Basically, Austin wants a signed fist bump picture, is what he's saying.
Well, just like this. So, just a real quick funny tidbit. No, not. Oh, it's not funny tidbit. More trivia. 60 Days In trivia. A couple of seasons later, 60 Days In went to Henry County, Georgia.
Yeah.
And they did. Yeah, it was Henry County, and they showed the sheriff that always wore the bow tie. Yeah, that was actually the facility I worked at until right before I transferred to the police department.
Oh wow.
So they called me and I made the introduction. So yeah, so that season and Shaquille O'Neal can be thanked because of me. Because I brought it to that season. Shaq's my neighbor, and that's a true story. Like I could pull up the driveway here and we could drive down and I could show you Shaq's house. But anyway, so I pulled some strings, made it happen. That was kind of interesting. So yes, I guess my lineage at 60 days in is pretty deep. I mean, it's a good show, man. If you want to find out, if y'all want to tune in, love to have you. I'm season 5 out of Pinalcare County, Arizona. There was our sheriff was a guy you may have heard of. He's on Fox News all the time. His name is Sheriff Mark Lamb. Great dude. All that being said, Mark, Austin, you guys are well. I was gonna say halfway decent. Y'all all right. And I appreciate the opportunity to get the interview. Call me back if you ever want, man. I know it probably won't happen, but,
We'll get you on some point. We'll figure out something. Like we may have to get a panel for some questions and things. I'm thinking up some ideas. We'll have you back.
a panel with some questions.
Yeah, we appreciate you, brother.
Listen, seriously, real talk. It was nice meeting you, Austin. Thanks for watching the show. Mark, I guess I seeing you again. I love y'all. You know, have a great day.
It's great
You
seeing you,
too,
brother.
man.
I'd like to introduce myself. I don't believe that we have ever met. I think that we could hit it off so well. Let me paint a picture, you and me together. I'd like to